Okay, we're on C2 for shirt design. We're on page 18 and we're getting started again, but we've kind of got a lot of things everywhere. So we're going to reset the essentials panel. So that way, you know, anything, you know, if I took these and I pulled all these things out here and all the things are everywhere, we're going to put everything back to where it goes. So you go to Window, Workspace, and then Reset the Essentials Classic, and everything goes back to its home. And so now we're back to just the general area here, okay? Now we're going to look at layers. If you've used Photoshop, then you're familiar with the way layers work. And we haven't been looking at layers because in Illustrator, they're kind of hidden. We know they're there because we're able to bring things to the front or send them to the back. But they actually do exist just like they do in Photoshop. They just work differently. Let's go to Window and Layers to bring open the Layers panel. So notice here on our Layers panel, I'm going to stretch this out. I have a toucan symbol. That's that one that I deleted. There's a thing there for it. And then I have the actual toucan symbol. So I'm going to delete this extra one because I don't need it. But this is that toucan symbol of what we did before. I'm going to go ahead and just name this layer 1, which is our first project, toucan. And I'm going to lock that layer by clicking next to the eyeball, so that I don't accidentally move stuff around on that artboard. That's the only really complicated thing with having multiple artboards is now, you know, if I have multiple artboards and I don't lock these layers, I'm going to accidentally maybe mess with the ordering of the layers somewhere else. So it's a good idea to lock things, okay? Now we're going to create a new layer that we're going to use for the shirt design and just double click it. Let's name it shirt. And so now anything new that we make will be on this new layer. So really, like all the pieces, before we made this assemble, they were all in pieces. They would have all showed underneath there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and push the little arrows to send that back over. Now to start this design, we're going to create a rectangle. Now you might remember we set the artboard for this one 800 by 400. So we're going to draw a rectangle that's 800 by 400. Click and hold your ellipse, choose rectangle, click one time, and then let's type that in, 800 by 400. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. All right, there we go. There it is. And we could try to like line this up to make sure we get it in the exact right spots, but we're going to use the align buttons to do that. Over in your properties panel on the right, in the group that says align, and there's also an align panel you can pull up. The first button says align to, and you want to say artboard. And then you're going to scoot over 2 buttons and align the horizontal center. That centers it in the middle that way. And then over a couple more buttons and align the vertical center, which centers it top to bottom. And now we know that it's exactly in that spot. Okay, it is aligned properly. Let's go to page 19. 19, we're going to subdivide this. Now you have to be clicked on it to be able to divide it. And I'm going to zoom out just a little. I'm going to control minus 1 time because we're going to use the knife tool. Right? The knife tool from last session. So I'm going to click on my eraser because that's what I used last, and then access my knife. And you're just going to make some cuts. We're doing like a Patagonia t-shirt kind of thing. So we're just going to make a couple of stripes up in the little sky area there, and then you're going to have a black part that's left at the bottom that we're going to end up putting our little beach part on and our words down there. So it's kind of up to you how you divide all these out. Their design has, and I'll just pull this back over so you can kind of see what we're doing. You can see here, these are kind of divided into these little strips, and then the bottom part's where we're going to put our words. Okay, so you're going to be knifing those out. All right. So here I go. We're going to make 5 total cuts, and one of them will be down at the bottom. So you can do it whatever you do. I think I'll start down here at the bottom. So I'm going to kind of go across like so. Remember, start on the outside and end on the outside, okay? And then another one, and then another one. That's 3, 4. Oops, I really went crazy on that one, didn't I? And then 5. All right, and so now I've subdivided it, so it's actually in a bunch of shapes. If we click off of it, they are individual shapes, like they're not grouped together anymore. But we are going to fill them in with the colors from our swatches. I need to click my swatches panel and bring that back up. I'm going to use the dark blue on the top, and then the light blue below it, and then the dark blue again, And then maybe like, some gold for the sunshine or whatever. And again, it's totally up to you how you want to choose your colors. And then the sky right before the black part that's going to go at the bottom. Okay. All right, so there we go. That's mine. I don't completely love this one today, but it's all good. Okay, we've got it all filled in, and then finally we're going to group it back together. I'm going to group all this back together. I'm just going to draw with my black arrow, draw down, so we grabbed them all and hit group. That way it's all one piece so we don't accidentally mess with it. Let's also go ahead back to layers, window layers, and let's lock that. So you're going to have to open it and then lock that group. Okay, and you can name it too if you want to. Call it rectangle, or you could call it sky, or whatever, so that you know that's what that is. Okay, and that way we don't accidentally pick it up and scoot it around and all of that different stuff. Okay, I'm gonna close that back out over there. The next thing, middle of page 19, is using the pencil tool. We have not used the pencil tool. The pencil tool will let you freehand draw something, and it smooths it, so that's kind of nice. And it will let you draw in fills, and that's nice too. So we are going to draw a really rough palm tree leaf. So that you can kind of see what we're doing. It's going to be like this little palm tree leaf on this palm tree. So it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. So let's go find that pencil tool. It hides underneath the shaper tool, which is a circle with a pencil on top of it. Go to the pencil tool. And I draw these things like massively huge and then size them down later. So that's what you want to do. So we're just kind of drawing like a leaf that kind of does this sort of thing, like for palm trees. Okay, that's pretty. And then, just come back around and join it. There we go. That's my palm tree leaf. And then go ahead and change that fill to black just so you can kind of see how it looks. See, that's not bad. It's not really that bad. And you could take your white arrow, and then switch to that white arrow and click on a point if you wanted to move a point around. You can pick them up and scoot them or whatever. So, it's not a lost cause if you don't really love it. You could still use that curvature tool we've used before if you needed to curve something, whatever. But I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So that's going to give us our leaf. And in our next session, we're going to duplicate that and turn it into a palm tree. So give it a save and then join me back on the next page.